Starting out this map, the idea is for the team, the other 4, to come out this door right here, and they're going to go all the way around to hit them from the alleyway. What you and the Mercy are going to do is you're going to come up here, or I should say either up here or down there in that door, from there, but you're going to shoot yourself off and try and catch their attention. Make sure they're looking directly at you as you're over here. Like I said, you can always go from that door too. Whatever's going to get you here quickly. And once you get to right about here, you can shoot directly underneath the payload, but they can shoot you too. Which is why the Mercy is here. If you just so happen to get clicked in the head, or you just take too much damage really quick, then she's there to res you. Alright, can you hold me to one side or the other? They hold you, and you can get up out of there really quick, and the Mercy can follow. If you go to the left or right, it's going to depend on what you're going to do. This little platform right here, you can land on, regenerate your fuel, but you got to watch out for Roadhogs and McCrees potentially. They'll always be right in this room. They'll come up here and they'll try and deal with you if they know you're going to sit here and get fuel back. But what you can do is sit here, get fuel, then go up again. Transition over here, get some peak damage on whoever's on the high ground. Obviously they're on the low ground right here, but you'll always see a Widow or a Hanzo just sitting right up here. But just gotta remember your team is gonna be coming from the right side. If you just happen to get halted to the right, then you should just go ahead and go with it and go to the right. But if you get halted to the left, let's say there's a payload in front of me, I get halted to the left. You can just come up over here. Come underneath this, make sure you don't leave your Mercy behind. It's very important you keep up with them. And you can use this little edge right here as cover until your jetpack comes back. Come up, Mercy just died. And did not mean to kill you there, my bad. And you can come around there and hit that. While they're respawning and get back in position, I can go ahead and show you the flank route to the left. Let's say you come out and you still happen to get picked. Instead of going for the payload again and pushing in, you want to go to the left, since your team's going to be coming from the right. So you come over here. Preferably you just come out this door. You come over here and be careful with your Mercy. As you just saw a second ago, she died. So you got to be very careful. Make sure you're feathering up well above the water, but not so high that you're going to become a target. Yep. Higher than that. And you come over here and you start getting some shots off. Alright, if you'll set up there for me. There's a little trick that you can start pulling off whenever your team's initiating and you know that everything's going to be happening, and like in the mid-fight, if they're still set up on the high ground somehow and this payload's starting to come through, you can just sit right here, pop this. I messed that up entirely. But you can pop up right there, and as soon as you press triangle, you'll be right in front of that shield. You'll blast down the shield, everyone behind it's going to be fried. Like so. Sorry you saw me mess that up. But once you deal with that, and you're starting to get this payload up there around that corner, Mercy, if you can just sit on the payload for me. Pretend that Pharah Mercy is still going on, she's still with me. If you end up dying or whatever in this team fight right here, and they're going out into that courtyard there to the right, right over here, you should start going around this way. And you want to make sure that no one sees you when you're doing this. So you come out here, you go through that same path I took you on before where you saw Mercy die, and you just come all the way around. See this roof right here? You can use that as a slope to hover on. Now whenever you're hovering, you don't regenerate fuel, so you got to keep that in mind. But you can either come up here, and if there's no one in this area, generally you'll see a Widow or McCree that's up in here. You got to watch out for that. They're usually looking at here for flankers. They're trying to kill them. So you might want to just go ahead and fly up here, but your jetpack is extremely loud. And you can just fly over here, come up and over this door right here, or over this roof, and they're usually going to be set up right here trying to keep the payload back. And you just drop down and pop off your ult directly behind them. At this point, you should have done enough spam damage in general to be able to get your ultimate all the way up. And you can just drop in and hit them with that. A lot of times you'll see a Widow's going to be sitting right here, or sometimes you'll even see them over here. You see Ana players a lot of times positioned over here. But you want to go all the way around and just drop down and surprise them. If your team tells you exactly where they are, like there's a Widow right here in this window, you can just drop down to here and just instantly start attacking. And then get inside of here and then kill whoever else is up here. If they tell you they're on the other side, you just come up here, and you can come down from behind and hit them from behind. A lot of times they're going to have their grappling hook on cooldown, they'll just get away, but you can continue to chase them. As long as you're really close to the Widow, it's going to be extremely hard for her to land a headshot on you. Just got to make sure you're close. The further away you are, the easier it will be for them to kill you. That's how it's always going to work. Alright, go ahead and push the payload on through. Alright, after the payload gets to this point, your respawn is going to be right here. You walk out, and there's going to be an instant sightline from that window directly on your spawn point. In order to avoid that, you come over here to the left side. And you just come, yet again, all the way to the left. It's going to take a lot of patience. Your team's going to be pushing the payload. They're going to be taking all the damage, shielding each other, staying alive. You and Pharmacy just come all the way around. You might be spotted at this point, but it's okay. And again, the team's probably going to be set up right here or in front of that door. The Widow's going to just about always be right here in this window because it's just easy access. She can go out that door right there. She can come out this door and get more sight lines. She can come over here, get these sight lines. She's going to go for all these different angles on it. You'll generally never see a Widow set up in the window on that side because it's just not very viable for an escape. Once they're over here, you just go all the way around to this side, and if your team lets you know, which they should always be tracking where the Widow is, if they let you know where that Widow's at, you can come up and surprise her. And the closer you are to her, the less likely you can get that headshot. You can win that fight easy. Land 2 rockets back to back directly, she's dead. That easy. So let's say your team has pushed the payload all the way up to around the next corner. There is a flank route here that you can take major advantage of over here in this alleyway. If you can come with me, Mercy. Now, I would say by the time that you've actually won those 2 fights, probably going to be more fights because nothing ever goes perfectly the first time. You should come over here. Don't use your rocket boost. Just kind of pop up and over as quietly as you can. Make sure the Mercy gets up. Drop down right here. Right here, I would crouch, and then whenever your team is saying they're initiating the fight, which should be just past the bridge over there, that's when you want to start going faster and get up here, and you just get right up behind them. And they're generally set up right here. Right where the head wrist is at. And you can just pop that ult off really quick. You'll sometimes see a Widow position right there, or right over there. A lot of times, whenever the fight's actually pushed past here, you'll see them set up back there. Alright, and there's a lot of heroes that can use that flank route. It's just Pharmacy is extremely effective at using it with the barrage. Always keep that in mind whenever you're trying to get your barrage off. And then once the payload's actually pushed a little further to the right, you don't want to use that flank route anymore because they're going to be able to pick you off pretty quickly. They're going to be used to you doing that, so you want to start coming over here and using the slant of this roof. Coming in right here, and just start popping it from way over here. And use this roof for cover. Can you on the payload? Thank you. Yeah, you want to use all the natural cover up here. And just keep popping shots. Okay, I'll just let you push that on up. Where they get up to anywhere between here and that side before the checkpoint, Widows like to set up right there where I'm firing at. They'll like to set up right over here. And that's generally about it. And once they get up to where the payload's right here, you'll see them setting up right there in that doorway so they can safely retreat. Just gotta keep all of that in mind for these Widows. Widow's literally your bane. But whenever you push that payload all the way up to that checkpoint, this will be your new spawn point back here. It's these doors. So you'll walk out here, try and use all of this cover. You can literally just walk straight up to this wall without being exposed to anything, except for maybe a Widow right over there. But if you've already pushed it up to that point, a Widow's most likely not going to try and peek right over there. Especially if you're running like Orisa Hog or something, you can just hook her and delete her instantly, which is what your team's going to be running for this. But right over here, if you try and jetpack, you will most likely hit that directly if you don't do it from back here. So let's talk about pre-aiming. As far as you got to predict where enemies are going to be, and you know that they're going to be up on this high ground here, a really, really likely spot for them to be. And of course, you're not going to get any good damage like this. So what you want to do is you want to kind of pre-aim where you're looking at in the jetpack, and then start shooting immediately as soon as you have sights. Give them as little time as possible to react to you. Now you can also come over here to the side and instantly jump up here. Probably quicker, but you're going to be exposed for a longer amount of time instead of going up over the wall. Alright, can you sit on the payload for me? Okay, so then they're pushing this on up. You'll see Widows sitting over here in the backside up until you push the payload all the way there. If they're sitting right there or not, either way, your flank route should definitely go over here. Jump up here, and then you just hover. Whenever you're hovering, you might hear like sounds of wind or something like that, but they can't hear that, only you can hear that. And you can land back here, you can just crouch if no one saw you, let your fuel regenerate, come back up, and just start lighting them up from behind. The Widow, if your team's still fighting down here, Widow's going to most likely be in this room, around where that health pack is at, just taking really quick peek shots and getting back. She could be over here, trying to get a little angle on your team. You'll sometimes see a Widow positioned here, but once the payload's right about where it's at right now, you'll see Widows, if they stick to Widow at this point, will actually come out back here, which will make her absolutely perfect for you to drop down on using this flank route. You'll just drop down right here. You'll see she'll be paying attention to them, and you can just drop in and get those 2 rockets off on her and just eliminate her. You can pretty much bet that as soon as you start taking fire, she's going to move towards the door, so you can just predict that, fire there, and then fire there. She'll be down. It might take 3. Just depends on how good she is at moving and how fast you can get her grappling hook off. And again, whenever you get barrage, this is something you want to try and do when the team's initiating. They say, okay, we're initiating, and you just move in. If they're sitting over here, you just try and be as silently as possible. Of course, you don't want to be just tapping this as much. This entire roof up here you can hover across without having to use your jetpack. So you can get over here, get down close, and then pop it off on them. Now inside of this room over here, there's not very much flank-wise you're going to be able to do. No matter where you're at in here, you're exposed the entire time. You can use this natural cover up in the ceiling to try and just get some shots off on their shields, just behind their shield, you know, doing all this stuff, build up your ultimate, and then come down and just let them have it. But using this natural cover up here in the top, using natural cover all over the map is extremely important. Alright, just hold the payload there. The Mercy, whenever you are going through this, the entire time, she needs to be looking around while she's pocketing you. Where she's pocketing you, your health bar is going to be on her screen, whether she's looking at you or not. So she's going to know if you're taking damage. But she needs to be watching for any angles a sniper can get on you. Any common spots that a Widow can be at, because a lot of times, Widows will flank too, and they'll get an angle on you you are not expecting whatsoever. And it'll take you out really quick. Now if you're actually on the defense and you want to play Pharah, this angle over here is just as effective against an attacking team as it is against a defending team. You can sit over here, you can go on a flank, you can pop your ultimate on them as they're going around here. You can go off to the right side over here, and as they're pushing up on this, you can pop up again and hit them from behind with your ultimate. You can do the same thing coming around on this side. They've already pushed up, you come up here, they're pushing all through this alleyway, you drop, hit them with that ultimate. Now, if you're having a Widowmaker right off the spawn, if you're still playing Pharah at this point, Widowmakers like sit right over here and right over here. That's generally where you're going to see them come straight out. If they're just giving you all sorts of problems, you can just jump up on this roof right here, and you can silently glide down towards their spawn. Wait for your rocket to come back. Come up. And your Widow is already dead. But she's right here. She could be on the other side. It's very simple. You just come in here, pressure her until she runs back into spawn, and then you get out of there. She's going right back over the top. But your job is going to be to flank and get off as many ultimates as you can. Just get your barrage up. Pester them, be a distraction. Your team's going to be doing most of the actual work and cleanup. But the entire win condition of this is for you not to be picked by the Widowmaker, and not to let your Mercy get picked by the Widowmaker. And for you to get in, do all that poke damage, secure those kills, and to get those flank barrages on them. I feel like that just about covers what you're going to be doing for the team in this video.